Alright, so to make this video go by faster, I'm going to ask myself a series of questions that you might ask me and then answer them. If you have any more questions, ask them down below, and we can have a conversation if I have the time to reply to your comment. Skill-based matchmaking is a very controversial topic, and there are YouTubers that are willing to put their time in and test skill-based matchmaking, and they'll come up with their own data, and they'll be able to show everybody what they found and give you a conclusive answer as to whether or not skill-based matchmaking is in the game and how strong it is, and then somebody will still have a different experience compared to them. One thing I want to get out of the way from the get-go here is that I believe that common consensus can often disguise itself as fact. And just because a lot of people have the same experience doesn't mean that they have all of the facts. Confirmation bias exists, and also there's people out there that are just on the internet to lie, and it's hard to deal with that fact, but there are people on there that are just there to fuel fire, and that's just what they do. So just because you see 100 tweets saying something is in the game, that doesn't mean it is. We can get as much data as we can get as much stuff from the developers as we can, and we can use that info to kind of compare to our experiences and start an interesting dialogue. But no, common consensus, in my opinion, should not replace fact when it comes to things that we aren't even willing to test in our own play sessions, in our own lobbies, with our own accounts. I also want to point out that skill-based matchmaking, I think, is used as a scapegoat, because every time somebody has to sweat in a game, it's skill-based matchmaking, and I even see some of those people saying, oh wow, I guess skill-based matchmaking turned off today because I had good games. And more likely than not, I like to assume that your success in game is determined by you and your attitude. Call of Duty is a mental game. A lot of the mechanics are very simple, very straightforward. It's your mentality and it's your attitude that will really define how a match plays. And if in the back of your mind you are constantly thinking, well, the matchmaking is stacked against me, then you're never gonna have a good game, or your good games will be inconsistent as hell. We have a lot of power over our own perception, and if we don't realize it, we're going to fall into the trap of every time we feel something, it has to be true. So let's start with the question asking. Do I think new players that just bought the game are level 0, they have no XP, they have 0 kills, do I think those people should be put in protected lobbies? Yes. I think people that just bought the game should be put in lobbies with other people that have very low playtime. I don't care what their KD is, I don't care what their first game's score per minute is, I don't care. If they have less than 24 hours played, I think they should play with people that have less than 24 hours played. If you want to lower that down to 12 hours, that's fine too. But my reasoning for this is simple. Call of Duty is sweatier now. Call of Duty isn't bringing in truckloads of new fans like it was back in 2009 and 10 when I got into Call of Duty. There aren't many people out there that haven't played a Call of Duty. Maybe they skipped a couple CODs, maybe they don't play every COD, maybe they're not good at every COD, but it's hard to find people that just don't play Call of Duty anymore. If you're playing Modern Warfare with somebody, that's likely not their first Call of Duty. This makes the game sweatier, and I see a lot of people saying that skill-based matchmaking is what makes the game sweaty, but really, gaming in general, but more specifically Call of Duty, will just be a more competitive, sweaty thing because the culture around online gaming changed from casual to competitive. If you don't see that around you, I'm sorry, you're not paying attention. Casual online PvP is hard to come by. Being better is a lot of people's goal when they're playing online games these days. The number of people that are just happy to be able to play with their friends and they don't care how well they do, the number of people that are like that list gets smaller every day as we gain more experience, as we play more games, as we get more numb to the novelties of online shooters. And all of this is to say, I do not think that a new player should be thrust into lobbies with people that have been playing for 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. My problem with people saying that back in the day, we got thrown to lobbies, it was all mix and match. Yeah, but it was a different time. The culture around gaming was different back then. People were less competitive and sweaty, and now anybody with an Xbox One or PlayStation can stream, and so they want to do better. And they watch famous streamers, and they watch YouTube videos and tips and tricks videos. People want to do better, and I don't think somebody that just bought the game on a Friday evening should be going up against a level 155 max level player, by Saturday afternoon. I don't think that's fair to them. Because if we want Call of Duty to grow, we have to let new people in and not just feel like they're completely late to the party. Like, okay, I just bought this game and everyone in here is max level and they have gold guns and they're destroying me. They know the meta, they know the maps, they know the spawns, they know the best equipment to use, they know the hardpoint rotations, they know the best ways to capture the B flag, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Call of Duty needs to be able to bring in new players if it is to grow in the future. So yes, new players for the first 12, 24 hours, I believe, should be put in lobbies with people with similar playtime, unless it just can't find you a game with those players, but I find that to be less likely now that we have three-way crossplay across the major platforms. Now, do I think really good players, like the 3KD players out there, should have to fight against 3KD players because that's more fair? No, not at all. I do not think that because you are good at the game, you should have to fight people that are just as good as you or within a small margin one way or the other around your skill level. No way. Because as your KD goes up, as your score per minute goes up, as your win-loss goes up, so does your opponent's in that scenario, and that is incredibly demotivating to anybody trying to get better at the game. Now, in a separate league play mode where you have ranks from bronze all the way up through diamond, that's fine. If you're diamond, in that scenario, you should play against diamond players or, people around diamond, around that skill level, around that score per minute, around that win-loss, you get it. But in a normal public match scenario, I believe it should find whoever has the lowest ping around you that's also looking for a match and put you into a game with them. And the only safety precaution I want is that people that have only had the game, like I said earlier, for like 12 or 24 hours should not have to go up against somebody that has 2 days played and has a 2KD and already has their gun gold. Obviously, I'm kind of painting a launch night scenario, but that's what I'm saying. There should be an environment that the player is greeted with that basically allows them to play against people that are just as novice as they are. I mean, I had that courtesy when playing the beta of Modern Warfare. Not many people had played the beta yet. So I was learning the game alongside other people, and that made the gameplay weird, but I wasn't having to sweat out every game, and I wasn't getting stomped, so that was nice. And I think people should have that experience for their first day of playing. Anyone that has a problem with somebody's first day of playtime kind of being babied doesn't realize that Call of Duty will stop growing if people buy the game and see the jump shotting, drop shotting, meta abusing, hardcore camping, full team running groups of people that exist in Call of Duty Public Match. If you think that they should go up against those players, then you're basically saying that Call of Duty needs to stop growing. Because when me and all of my friends are doing well in a match of domination, the last thing the game should do is put someone that just bought the game that evening against the 6 of us. Now, do I think that Modern Warfare specifically has really strong skill-based matchmaking? And my answer for that is, I really couldn't tell you. Maybe it's because I'm an inconsistent player, but I have a pretty mixed bag when it comes to lobbies, whether I'm playing with a full squad or by myself or with one other friend. The variety of enemies I go against actually seems, well, like there's variety. I'm not just fighting tryhards or noobs all day. I'll fight somebody that looks like they can't really win a gunfight. In the same match, there's somebody that's using a very powerful gun, and they're jump shotting around corners, and they're running the 725 and M4 combo, and they're abusing the hell out of it, and they're calling in VTOLs, and then there's one person on the enemy team that is sitting in a corner with a claymore and is scared to death that he actually has to shoot somebody. And I see that often. Like I said in my matchmaking video about Modern Warfare, is that I don't really see skill-based matchmaking as being in the game and being incredibly strong. I feel like the matchmaking's just annoying in the way that it's balanced. It gives me a bunch of really bad players on my team to balance out the fact that maybe the game sees me as above average, and it sees someone on the other team as above average, and so it gives me and that other person a bunch of really bad teammates, and so both me and the other guy on the other team have to carry a bunch of idiots. And idiots in Call of Duty lose you matches, because they don't just die and lose you a point on the scoreboard, they die and feed the enemy team a VTOL, a gunship, a juggernaut, and that just goes downhill from there. You lose your map control, you're dying out of spawn, and good luck because the rest of your teammates are bad. So it's a lot more about forward momentum and not so much about a competitive back and forth. Whoever starts killing first keeps killing, and that feels weird. I wish the teams were more mixed. I wish that occasionally I'd have a random on my team that's better than me. And I mean better than me when I'm trying. Not just better than me when I'm trying to get leaning kills with the Scar and core mode like an idiot. I mean someone that's actually better than me, but I don't ever get to see that. I'm always on top of the leaderboard and still losing, and it's always by a really tight margin. That's where the game frustrates me, and I've had that problem in many previous Call of Duty games. I don't feel like the game's trying to kick my ass. I feel like the game's trying to make me a babysitter. and that sucks. So let me just summarize all of this because we're at the 10-minute mark and I don't want to go on too much longer and make this messier than it already is. So let's go from the top here. Do I think new players should be put in protected lobbies, or at the very least have a protected playlist that's only available for somebody in their first 12 or 24 hours of gameplay? Yes, I think there should be those protections so that new players come in and they can learn the game alongside people that are learning the game until they're put into more competitive multiplayer matches where the enemies could range from 155, 3 KD players mixed in with some 0.6 KDs and some 1.5s and maybe someone with a 0.2. I don't know. That's when the game will start to become a little bit more demanding of the noob, but I think their first several games should allow them to learn at their own pace. But do I think that strong skill-based matchmaking should be put in place so that a strong 3 KD player should only fight strong 3 KD players or people around that KD? No, I don't think that at all. It punishes people for getting better and lowers the quality of matchmaking because ideally that person should fight whoever has the lowest ping to them, not whoever has the highest KD. As you get up in the skill ladder, you become a part of a smaller and smaller minority of people that are very exceptionally good at the game, and so your matchmaking times will be extended and the connection quality can't be as good. So I think matchmaking should be entirely about connection first. The only time that skill-based matchmaking should kick in is if you haven't played the game for 24 hours yet. And do I experience skill-based matchmaking in Modern Warfare? No, I find annoyingly balanced matchmaking in Modern Warfare where I feel like I'm either babysitting and I'm fighting against some other people that are babysitting, and the match doesn't have that same type of flow that old Call of Duty games had, where the teams were a little bit more balanced on each end and not just, here's the good players and they have to watch the dummies. And I really am not into that. That's my personal experience. That's my perspective. But for those of you that don't like my longer answers, here's the short one. Here's the short one now. You ready? Do I think skill-based matchmaking should be a thing in public matches? No. I think it should be entirely up to connection unless you have that low amount of playtime, that 0 XP player that I talked about earlier, under 24 hours. There should be nothing affecting your matchmaking except for quality of connection. If you want to implement a league play system, that's fine, but for the most part, other than that one edge case as someone that has no playtime in the game, leave people's KD out of the matchmaking. Let me fight a good team of 3 KD players one match, and then let me fight a team of 0.3 KDs the next match. Let it mix and match, because the noobs will get to fight noobs, that's fine, but they also have to get put through the ringer. They also have to fight me and my friends, and then my friends have to fight people that are better than us, but it's mixed. Our play sessions would be more varied. But I think most of us will agree, no matter which side of the argument you are on, lobbies should not disband after every match. That is absurd. Whoever thought that was a good idea at Infinity Ward needs to be shot. I'm kidding, but they need to probably rethink that idea. And I really hope that we see a change to that soon. Soon as hell. Because if I want to rematch some noobs or rematch a sweaty team, I want to be able to do that. I hate joining a game late, getting beat by people because I wasn't there for the start of the game, and not being able to fight them again and be like, no, I'm not bad, I just got in late, let me show you what I can do. I can't do that. So yeah, hopefully this clears up my opinion on skill-based matchmaking in Modern Warfare or Call of Duty in general. Let me know what you guys think down below. And yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. And I swear to God, if the question is something I answered in this video, I'm gonna throw somebody. Thank you guys, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.
Damn, 44 kills.
Yeah, that worked out.